Got a cool car? Thinking about the Avata 360? Here is how tracking performs. After my full review of the DJI Avata 360, which I'll link in the upper right corner, one feature really stood out, and this is tracking. Especially now with the latest firmware update, DJI even improved tracking performance and added automatic tracking for cycling and skiing subjects. So the Avata 360 uses a dual lens 360-degree camera combined with forward LiDAR and a button IR sensor to track subjects in a very different way compared to traditional drones. So instead of relying only on forward-facing camera, the drone can track subjects in all directions while reframing the shot afterwards. This opens up some interesting possibilities, but also raises an important question. How well does this actually work in real-world flying? So in this video I want to take a closer look at tracking performance, starting with person tracking, and then move over to car tracking and have a look if there are some kind of problems as well. Before we jump into the real-world test, let us quickly look at how tracking works on the Avata 360. Activating tracking is very straightforward. You can either tap the tracking icon on the left side of the screen and the drone will automatically detect subjects like a car and mark them with a small plus icon. Or you simply draw a box around your subject and the drone immediately locks on. If you are looking for a more detailed guide, you can check out my full tracking tutorial on the Neo 2 where I explain everything in detail. Tracking on the Avata 360 is only available in the dual lens 360 mode. And that is mainly because the 360 cameras are also responsible for obstacle sensing. Obstacle avoidance is always active during tracking, supported by forward-facing LiDAR. So the drone is constantly analyzing the environment while following your subject. Another key difference is how the drone behaves in flight. Unlike traditional camera drones, the Avata 360 keeps flying forward even when tracking from the side or from the front. The drone does not rotate to keep the subject in frame. Instead, it maintains forward motion and adjusts the tracking position virtually. You can also adjust your tracking position using the position radar. The inner circle keeps the drone closer to the subject, while the outer circle allows for more distance. And since you are recording the full spherical view, you can also adjust framing afterwards, which gives you additional flexibility when creating your final shot. With that in mind, let us start with person tracking. In open environments, tracking works very well with the DJI Avata 360. The drone locks onto the subject quickly and tracking remains stable even when the person changes direction. Movement looks smooth and overall behavior is very predictable. One noticeable difference compared to something like the Neo 2 is the tracking distance. The Avata 360 tends to keep more distance from the subject. It feels less like a close follow drone and more like a camera drone. In fact, the behavior is closer to something like a Mini 5 Pro rather than a Neo 2. This creates more cinematic looking shots, but also makes the tracking feels less intimate. Another factor is speed. Person tracking is not overly aggressive. Instead, the Avata 360 prioritizes stable and reliable movements. This actually helps avoid sudden corrections and keeps footage smoother at all. But at the same time, it also means tracking is less dynamic compared to a manual flying. Another important point is the forward flight behavior. Even during tracking, the Avata 360 continues flying forward. It does not rotate like a traditional camera drone to keep the subject in frame. This results in smoother and more natural looking tracking shots. There's also a technical detail worth mentioning. In standard person tracking, the drone typically flies around head height, which means the subject often sits right in the stitching area between the two cameras. In rare situations, this can lead to minor stitching artifacts or slight wobbling. This does not happen often, but it is something to be aware of, especially in more complex scenes. Things become more challenging in complex environments like forests. Obstacle avoidance remains acting during tracking, and the drone constantly tries to find a safe path. Because the sensors are always in bypass mode, the drone does not aggressively stop in front of obstacles. Instead, it tries to navigate safely around them. This works perfectly well in many situations, but if the drone cannot find a safe route, tracking eventually stops, which is safe and expected behavior. One limitation, however, is noise. The Avata 360 is relatively loud, especially compared to something like the Neo 2, and that makes person tracking less comfortable in quieter environments, particularly when flying close to people. So overall, Third-person tracking on the Avata 360 works very reliably, especially in open environments. It offers stable tracking, larger tracking distance, and flexible camera movement. But depending on the scenario, you still have to ask yourself if tracking is really the best choice for that type of shot. With that in mind, let us move on to car tracking. This is where tracking really starts to become more interesting. Unlike person tracking, car tracking allows for significantly higher speeds. The Avata 360 can reach up to 18 meters per second, which makes tracking much more dynamic right away. And this is also where tracking simply becomes more fun. With higher speeds, the footage feels more energetic, more cinematic, and overall more engaging. Instead of slow follow shots, you get real motion in the scene, which works especially well for vehicles. Even at higher speeds, tracking remains surprisingly stable. The drone follows the vehicle smoothly, and even when the car changes direction, tracking stays reliable. There are no sudden corrections or aggressive movements, which helps keep the footage clean and usable. This is also where the 360-degree camera really shows its strength. Because you capture the full vehicle view, you are not locked into one perspective during flight. You can adjust your framing later, change angles, or slightly modify the direction of your shot in post. This gives you a lot of creative freedom, especially for dynamic car shots. Another advantage is that car tracking simply feels more natural. Vehicles move faster and more predictable than people, which allows the tracking system to operate more smoothly. The result is more cinematic movement and more visually interesting shots. The Avata 360 also maintains very smooth motion during curves and direction changes. When the car turns, the drone follows naturally without abrupt repositioning. This creates very fluid tracking shots, especially on winding roads or more dynamic driving paths. At the same time, the higher speed also makes the experience more engaging. You can experiment with different tracking positions, dynamic movements, and more dramatic perspectives. However, higher speeds also mean less reaction time. In this example here, you can see a near miss where the drone passes very close to obstacles. The Avata 360 still manages the situation well and tracking remains stable, but it also shows that obstacle detection becomes more demanding as speed increases. Another interesting observation is that even in slightly more complex environments, tracking remains surprisingly stable. The drone continues to follow the vehicle smoothly, and overall tracking remains very reliable throughout most of the sequence. So overall, car tracking on the Avata 360 is not only capable, but also genuinely fun to use. Higher speeds, smoother tracking, and the flexibility of the 360 camera opens up a lot of creative possibilities. And this is where things start to get more interesting. Let's now take a closer look at some of the limitations I noticed during car tracking with the Avata 360. The first factor is distance. In EU regions, tracking is limited to around 50 meters between the drone and the tracked subject. Once the distance is exceeded, active track automatically stops. In my particular example, tracking was interrupted as soon as the car moved too far away, or the drone. This is not a technical limitation of the drone itself, but rather a regulatory requirement. Still, it is something to keep in mind when planning longer tracking shots. Another factor is speed. Car tracking allows for much higher speeds compared to person tracking. But with higher speeds, reaction time becomes significantly shorter, especially in more complex environments. This becomes more noticeable when changing positions during tracking. Using the position radar, you can select a new tracking position while the drone is already following the vehicle. Once selected, the Avata 360 automatically moves to the new position while maintaining tracking. During one repositioning, the drone avoided an obstacle and got too close to my vehicle. Because of this reduced distance, tracking was temporarily interrupted, which is expected behavior. In another situation, repositioning led to a crash. While moving to the new position, the drone tried to fly around a bush, but failed to detect smaller branches and flew directly into them. The drone crashed and dropped to the ground. I had to stop the car, get out, and search for the drone in the field. So after picking it up, I had to restart everything and set up tracking again. And the annoying thing is, the brand new drone now has visible scratches on the front. Another important aspect is how obstacle sensing works on Avata 360. Most of the surrounding awareness relies on the wide-angle 200-degree camera supported by the forward-facing LiDAR. In good lighting condition, detection works very well, but in lower light, low contrast scenes, or when flying near thin branches, detection becomes more difficult. Combined with higher speeds, this reduces reaction time even further. So overall, tracking on the Avata 360 works very well in most situations, but when combining higher speeds, distance limits, and repositioning in complex environments, the system naturally reaches its limits. So what is the overall verdict on tracking with the Avata 360? First of all, it is great to see tracking finally comes into the Avata series. None of the previous Avata models supported tracking, so this opens up completely new possibilities for FPV style shots. And overall, tracking performance is very solid. Person tracking works reliably, especially in open environments. Car tracking allows for more dynamic shots and is where the system really becomes fun to use. So the combination of forward flight and the 360 camera also gives you a lot of creative flexibility, especially since you can adjust the framing afterwards. There are still some limitations, especially at higher speed or in more complex environments, but overall the system behaves predictably and works reliably in most situations. It is also worth mentioning that tracking is not limited to just people and cars. With the latest update, biking and skiing are supported as well. And in addition to this, tracking also works with the Goggles 3 or the Goggles N3 and motion controller, not just with the RC2 controller. So overall, tracking on the Avata 360 is a very welcome addition and a strong step forward for the Avata series. Alright folks, that's it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the tracking of the Avata 360. I hope this video was helpful and gave you a better understanding of what the Avata 360 tracking can really do. Thanks for watching, and as always, stop watching YouTube right now, go outside, grab your drone and fly yourself. Have fun with the new DJI Avata 360 and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, see you, bye bye!